All right, let's see what else is there to talk about that I think would be pretty cool. All right, former spy no longer critical after poisoning. We talked about CDC scientists before. All right, adds $13,000, 13,000 jobs. Nope, nope. News and buzz. Okay, JFK's secret doomsday map. Oh, you know what I want to talk about? I think I want to talk about TU. All right. So I found this story on YouTube, and it's called "Who Killed JFK." So I'm thinking another JFK. Actually, not who I killed. JFK, and the guy's name is James Files. So check this out. I'm looking at this, and I watched this video, the documentary several times, and I'm convinced that this man right here, James Files, killed JFK. He is proven that all these movies about JFK, who did what, where, when, and how, and why, are now defunct. They are no longer relevant. This man is claiming to not only have killed the President of the United States, but also can prove it. So it's pretty crazy, but I mean, there is just too much information that is now irrelevant, that's still being thrown out there as if it's relevant anymore. The killer that went down for the JFK assassination is excuse me for a second, just reading something else. So James Files basically saying, hey, this is the gun I used, this is how I did it, this is what happened that day, this is how it's, who planned it, who he worked for, and just to preface some of it, he was in the military, I believe Marines, and did kill his commanding officer. He did some shit. He did a lot of killing at a young age, and what are you gonna? I mean, what are you supposed to say about that? He became a mob hitman and started doing stuff for him. And one of the jobs was to hit the President of the United States, although he did not know it was the President, nor did he care. He wasn't involved in politics, didn't even matter to him. And this guy is currently in prison for 20-something years, something like that, or life, for killing a police officer. Yes, the FBI did go to the prison to visit him. Because if a guy comes out, makes a documentary, and puts it out there that I killed JFK, then I think that should be on the front page of every newspaper in the United States. Literally should be in the newspapers. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is the next biggest cover-up in the Kennedy saga. And people knew about it. People in the FBI knew who he was and what he had done. They all knew about it. This is just, and this James Files is basically saying he's the guy on the grassy knoll, and he proves it time and time and time again. And let's just listen to a little bit of what's on here.
Cowardice, there was something that I did that the whole face of the Latosian Army.
No problem. Could you tell me about how you first became involved in organized crime activities?
Well, I first became, it's a strange way to start out, but I was racing stock cars and driving at a local track.
Has anybody paid you any money for this interview, Jim?
Nobody has paid me any money for this interview, and I've asked for nothing.
Why are you telling all of this? Why are you coming forth with this after 30 years?
In the beginning, with this, Mr. Joe West, he got a lead on me and came to me. He wrote me a letter. I denied any knowledge of it. told him he had me mistaken with someone else. And they had been calling the institution. The counselor came one day while I was on visit. And to this point, I kept myself totally obsolete, local, out of the highlight, the spotlight. The only two people that knew I was in Dealey Plaza that day for sure was Johnny Roselli and Charles Nicoletti.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we never went around telling people what we'd done. If we went out and we did something, or we popped somebody, or made a hit on them, whatever you want to call it, we didn't go sit around the tavern and brag about it, or we didn't go down to the local restaurant and talk about what we'd done.
So as far as
how do I feel about death? To me, it's just another new adventure. Don't get me wrong, I'm in no hurry to die. When the time comes, though, I will accept it. And I've looked at death several times in my life. I have had people from the outfit, the police officers, put guns to my head and threatened to kill me. And I've looked them in the eye and told them to shoot. And a couple of them, I told them they didn't have the balls to shoot. And a couple of local cops, they come to my home one night and surrounded my house, took me out. After working me over severely in the front yard, took me down to the railroad tracks before they took me to the station house. Took me to the railroad tracks, stripped me out of the squad car, handcuffed, put a gun in my head and told me, "You piece of shit, we're not taking you in, we're going to kill you." And I told them, "You ain't got the balls to do it."
obviously they didn't.
And they didn't. They took me on in. My wife was waiting at the precinct station. The lawyers were there. And I was released approximately 45 minutes later.
Jimmy, is there any...
There you go. Now, what do you guys think, man? I think this whole thing needs... This is like the second cover-up of JFK. This guy's saying, I killed him. He even bit the bullet after ejecting it out of the gun, bit the end of it, and left it there, and was found. And it has his tooth mark in it. I mean, some of the facts that he lays out on this case is just so mind-bending that there's a reason why you've never heard of this. Because if a guy says, hey, I killed JFK, and here's my story, you would think everybody would be on it. But he did do it, and he did tell the truth, and everybody involved points directly to this government working with the mafia. Very, very compelling story. At one point he says that his boss, some head of some family or mafia thing, was taken out, but he realized that nobody could take him out that didn't have permission. It wasn't another mafia, just another mafia hit. It was a government hit, and he was taken out. So this guy has had this secret for a long time. He hung out with Lee Harvey Oswald. He said Lee didn't have anything to do with it. So that picture of Lee Harvey Oswald in the doorway, watching as right before the shots go off, that's really him standing there. So he couldn't have then run upstairs 5 floors or whatever it is, get a gun, aim, shoot, and be able to hit precisely the head of a president of the United States from the side when he's shooting from the back. So it's just like, wow, this is pretty big. I always want to talk to people about this, but nobody. It's almost like people don't care. I think this would be the talking point at every dinner table in the United States. One day, instead of celebrating and remembering a fallen president, this is the guy that has all the answers. But just like my other video about markets and how you can, if this video came out nationwide and had the entire United States talking about it, you think the sales of JFK movies will be relevant anymore? I don't think so. It's not going to be relevant. Now all the researchers and everything that couldn't find this guy, that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. Let's see if we can pick another video. But right here, this is where the gunshot was. This is the new. I think this guy's one of those people around the towns that tell the stories and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. But this is where it happened. It's pretty badass. Once he shot him, he bit that bullet and put it right on the top right here. And left. Just walked away. And that was it. He said it was like shooting ducks in a barrel. Self-proclaimed JFK assassination witness Ed Hoffman presentation. I don't know about this guy, or whoever he is.
When I was at work and a break time.
Oh man, and he's deaf, dude. Nothing against deaf people, but you know, that's just weird. All the cover-ups in this is it's almost like they're joking. Like, this is the story that you know. I mean, anyways, this is just pretty. So this guy's seen it all. He's seen it all, huh? It was rigged from the inside out, man. So if it's rigged from the inside out, Secret Service were in on it. There was guys posed from the mafia with fake credentials, posing as agents. So the agents you think you saw, or you think the agencies involved, may not actually have been. Maybe they were brought in to look like agents and perform duties similar to agents without the legal authority or capacity to do so. So I just think it's funny that they get this guy up here like, yep, you know, I see it all. Come on. You know what I mean? So, lastly, let me wrap this up. So his way of proving, besides everything else that he's given, including locations, times, what happened, who, what, where, and why, that he mentally, physically, visually saw and can verify just through being a first-hand eyewitness, believe it or not. But the round that he shot the president with hit him in the head. And that's the video of his head exploding. Let's see if we can get that going in the background. And he said that that bullet was a special bullet. It's called special load. And what it does is it makes the head explode. It has a chemical at the tip of it. And so you drill a hole into the bullet, then you put some of the stuff in the tip, and that makes it a special load, and that's what he used, which was a small gun. It wasn't even rifle. He said it was like shooting ducks in a barrel. Alright, so that's cool. But that chemical will stay in that body for eternity. It's like a real toxic chemical. I don't remember the name. So if you dug up that body right now, that chemical will still be in there. But this thing was staged so perfectly, you have to anticipate that things are just not going to be where they're supposed to be. So you got to look at it from a real critical eye. Not to say anybody was in wrong. It's just what's going on here? What's really going on here? Because we are watching a movie right now. That's a movie. It's fully staged, has all the props, has all the angles, everything is pre-planned down to its time. Everything is where it's supposed to be. So a person with just a blind eye going in saying, yep, just it looks like he got shot by some crazy guy, that is not going to fly. So a lot of anomalies inside of this whole case that makes you just wonder, like, wow, how obvious it was and how so many professionals just simply got it wrong. I just, how many people had to have investigated this entire incident? It's nuts. Look at this guy's head gets the president's head gets blown up in full public view on national television, let's just say. I don't know if it was live back then, but I don't know. But think about it. And I'm going to let it go from there. So, check out this film, I Killed JFK.